Good afternoon. Well, today is the 1st of January. It is a new year, and we've just been with the Test Valley Motor Enthusiasts, of which we are members, on a New Year's Day run in and around the New Forest, which has been most agreeable. I imagine most of you would have seen that video before this one. As of course you're a channel member, you do get early video access. So 2022 was quite a year. Unfortunately, both of us at the end of it finished off with rather a nasty sort of combination of cough and a cold. We're not exactly sure what it was, but it wasn't very pleasant. But we've sort of been fighting through it, and as you have seen on the channel, I managed to keep recording through most of it, and by gosh, it'll go a long way to record some stuff this year. That Maestro Vanden Pla that you would have seen on the channel, No Budget Reviews, that was released yesterday, New Year's Eve. I went all the way to North Wales to film that, and it was worth it, but I sometimes think actually that I should probably not consistently have to go so far to film a lot of stuff. It didn't be necessarily a correlation between how far I go to film stuff and how well the video does. It's just one of these weird things. So I'm very grateful to all of you who have watched anything that I'll be putting out in 2022. It was a successful year for the channel. In some ways it wasn't quite as successful as the previous year, but we did have our best ever day on the 30th of November 2022, which was amazing, and the best ever month was November 2022. So what are we planning to do this month and this year? Well, I've got a number of cars I'd like to film this month. I'm going to be requesting some people I know who've got cars if they're going to be allowing me to film them. One of the things about this time of year is that because the daylight is not in abundant supply, and also the weather sometimes is quite bad, not a lot of people want to necessarily have their sort of prized possessions out on the road, and I totally understand that. Just going out today in the Volvo has made it really, really filthy. Not necessarily a problem, we'll just get it cleaned, but if you have something that's very susceptible to corrosion in very nice condition, you don't necessarily want it to get filthy. So I'm going to be asking just for general kind of cars to film. Most of you tend to like the sort of ones that are below £5,000 or you know, nominal value, and so that's what we'll probably concentrate on for a while. I do have videos coming up for top 10 best-selling cars, probably of December 2022, and also 2022 as a whole, which I think is even more interesting actually than the last month. Now, not a lot of you particularly interested in those it would seem from the figures, but there are some people who absolutely, utterly adore looking at those figures. They find, like me, that they're very, very interesting, seeing the monthly breakdown of cars people are buying in this country. But we'll continue as well with the very vague vlogs, which kind of sometimes do actually perform quite well. It depends what the subject is about, but some of you like watching them, and of course if you're a channel member on the top 2 tiers membership, then you actually get to see those around the day that they're recorded. We're going to get this Volvo fixed up as well at some point, get these all leaks dealt with that a lot of you will know about, that we've mentioned over the last month or so, and also hopefully this month is a month we get the rover back. That car's been off the road for 2 months, and it's just been, you know, delay after delay. Now, I've not been pushing it a lot because it's not a car that particularly I need to have on the road in order to get around. That's not necessary at all to do that, and we're very privileged actually that we have other cars that we can use, like this, which apart from the oil leak is absolutely fine. The Mercedes is fine, SsangYong's fine. Although Mr. Coleman very kindly came down for my birthday a couple of days ago, and he had a look at the SsangYong for me and said, you do know you are going to need 2 new tyres, 2 new front brake and new front brake pads in that car quite imminently, like in the next sort of 3,000 miles, don't you? So we're going to have to get that done at some point. I'm sure it won't be too much problem to find those bits. The tyres should be relatively easy. SsangYong bits like brake pads, now they are available, it's just you have to look a bit harder for them than you would have to do with other makes. Speaking of SsangYong, there is a very vague vlog coming up at some point about SsangYong's future and the fact that actually after a couple of years of uncertainty, actually 2 years, their future is looking pretty secure. They might even be changing their name, which is really, really strange. So, just be continuing to doing what we normally do. We'll be continuing with low budget reviews. We'll be continuing with sensible second-hand reviews and sensible second-hand classics. We also might bring back some contingency reviews. There's one particular car that I've been offered for that, which doesn't quite fit in with any particular format that I've got at the moment, so we might be doing that again. I also have booked the London Classic Car Show for February. That's towards the end of February. That was actually the first ever Shambolic Shuffle ever that was done at that show in February 2019. So if you look at the playlist of Shambolic Shuffles, you want to know where it started, that was it. Also, we're going to the Practical Classics Restoration Show at the NEC, which will be in March. I've already booked that and booked the accommodation, so I'm definitely going to go to that. Other things are happening later in the year I'm not so definite on at the moment, but you know, we'll soon find out. And really importantly, if anybody does have a car that should be reasonable channel, a lot of people just automatically assume that I only want to drive really, really cheap cars or really, really old cars, and that's not really the case. I like more modern stuff. A lot of people don't, but I do. And so if you do have something that you'd like featured on the channel, then my email address would have come onto the screen after a couple of seconds, I think, with this video, maybe about 10 seconds, then you'll see my email address on there. And please do get in touch. I'm very keen to get as much done during this early part of the year as I can in that respect, because it keeps everything going. And if there's something that YouTube likes, it's consistency. We might scale down the number of videos per week from 7 to 5. I did that last January as well. I won't be doing that though until after the first week has finished, because we've got most of the content already lined up. And I hope you enjoy that. And I've offered a chance to try something a little bit extraordinary as well, which some of you might not like, but I think should be fun. And I hope you'll just be continuing to enjoy what gets put out. Often it's what people offer me. Often I can just ask someone and say, have you got something for me, particularly if they're a regular person in terms of the number of cars they've offered me before. But a lot of it is literally just people out of the blue sending me an email and saying, you know, I've got this, would you like to drive it? And with one or two exceptions, the answer is normally yes. It's not so much that I don't want to film the car. There are some exceptions, of course, and the usual rules still apply about what we can and can't talk about. But it's more a question of grouping things together logistically. And because I live down in the south, we live in Hampshire. It's not always very easy to get to places that are, further north. It's not economically viable often to just say, well, I've got a car around Northumbria and go all the way out to Northumbria just to film one car. That doesn't really make a lot of sense financially, I'm afraid. So, although I have been there to do filming before, I just have to make sure it's all worked out so that I can sort of put some cars together and make the schedule work. And that's really the main thing. But yes, so if you have something that you'd like to see on the channel, please send me an email. I'll put the email as well in the video description too, so you can see. And I look forward to hearing from you. So thank you once again for all your support in 2022. All of you who've watched videos, who've subscribed, who've become channel members, who've liked the videos, who've left comments. I obviously, we prefer comments I don't have to remove. It's obviously, my preference. But I do hope that you'll continue to enjoy the sort of things that we do in 2023. And thank you once again. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below.